He brought her on to embarrass her, but she turned the whole show into a masterclass. Dale Renner didn't just host a talk show, he owned a time slot. Every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., viewers across the country tuned into The Real Talk with Dale Renner, a syndicated talk show out of Kansas City. He was loud, he was smug, he smiled too much. But people watched, for the drama, for the headlines, and sometimes just to see who'd flinch under his questions. His style? Pushy, almost playful, until it wasn't. Dale liked to corner his guests with loaded questions, the kind that seemed innocent until they weren't. That's what sold. He didn't chase the truth. He chased reactions. But this time, he picked the wrong guest. Monica Reed was the kind of woman who could walk into a room full of suits and never feel underdressed in her sneakers. Raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, she built her skincare company, Melanatural, from her own kitchen after years of frustration with beauty products that didn't work for darker skin. No investors, no shortcuts, just grit, consistency, and a sharp business mind. By 38, she had turned a side hustle into a national brand. She employed over 40 people, half of them women who reminded her of her younger self. Tired, overlooked, but hungry for something more. Monica didn't call herself a boss. She said she was a builder. When her assistant, Jerome, told her that Dale Renner's show had reached out for a Black Business Excellence segment, she blinked once and said, "They must be running low on viral moments." Jerome chuckled, but there was a pause. "You thinking of turning it down?" he asked. "I'm thinking about the cost," she replied, "'cause you know that man's not inviting me to celebrate me." She wasn't wrong. Dale wasn't known for handing out compliments. But Monica said yes, not because she needed the exposure. She didn't. Her company had already landed a retail partnership with Target and Sephora. No, she said yes because she knew someone out there would be watching. A young black girl, a woman grinding through 3 jobs trying to build her own. And she knew what it meant to be seen, even if it came wrapped in side eyes and sarcasm. She wasn't walking into Dale's studio blind. What she didn't expect, though, was how deep the jabs would go. But Dale wasn't the only one watching her walk through that door. The official email from Dale's production team came 2 days after the call. It was dressed up nice. "We are thrilled to feature Monica Reed, a trailblazer in inclusive skincare and an inspiration to entrepreneurs everywhere." Jerome tilted the screen so she could see. "They laid it on thick," he muttered. "They always do," Monica replied, sipping her tea without looking up. "The frosting is just to hide the rot underneath." Still, she accepted the invite. Not because she forgot who Dale was, but because she remembered who she was. Her phone rang the next evening. It was her cousin, Trina, calling from Charlotte. "Girl, tell me you are not going on that man's show." Monica chuckled. "You heard already? It's all over Black Twitter, folks posting clips of him talking crazy to that professor from Detroit last month. He asked her if she thought she got her PhD for real or if it was a diversity move. Monica, he's a clown." Monica didn't disagree. "I know," she said quietly, "but I'm not going there for him. I'm going for everybody who's never seen someone like me on that couch, not taking the bait." Trina went quiet for a moment. "All right," she finally said. "Just don't let that fool drag you down to his level. You keep your grace." "That's all I got," Monica said, smiling. The night before the show, Monica sat at her kitchen counter scrolling through clips of Dale's past interviews. His tactics were obvious once you paid attention. He played the friendly host for the first 5 minutes. He let the guest get comfortable. Then slowly, he'd start slipping in sideways comments. "Don't take this the wrong way," or "You people tend to..." And once the guest flinched or fought back, that's when Dale leaned in. It wasn't journalism. It was sport. She closed the laptop and leaned back. Her reflection in the window looked calm, but her chest was a battlefield. The next morning, the driver picked her up from her hotel and drove her to the studio in Overland Park. She wore a navy blue blazer over a white shirt, simple gold hoops, and her signature natural curls pulled into a clean puff. No flashy makeup, no costume. As she walked into the lobby, a young black woman behind the reception desk looked up, blinked, and whispered, "Monica Reed?" Monica smiled and nodded. "That's me. I just wanted to say, I love what you're doing. I use your clay mask, and I saw your interview last year on The Brew. You had me in tears." Monica felt a tightness in her throat, but she smiled again. Thank you. That means more than you know. The girl leaned in just a little and lowered her voice. Just watch him. He gets weird when the cameras roll. Real different from how he is off air. Monica's smile didn't drop, but her eyes sharpened. Thanks for the heads up. She was led down a long hallway to a green room. Snacks on the table, bottled water, neutral-toned furniture, cold air, and warmer lies. Dale popped in just before showtime. Monica Reed, finally, he said, loud and grinning. Been wanting to get you on here for a while. Big fan, big fan. He extended his hand. Monica stood, shook it firmly, and said, Thanks for having me. He looked her up and down, just a flicker too long. You look different from your photos. In a good way. Very strong presence. Monica kept her smile. You look exactly how I pictured you, she said. All polished up. His eyes flickered, but he didn't know. Polished doesn't mean predictable. Stage crew buzzed around the studio floor like they were racing a clock only they could see. Makeup artists dabbed foreheads, adjusted lapels. The band ran through a quick tune, jazzy, harmless, just enough to tell the audience they were in for a good time. Monica sat quietly on the edge of the stage steps, watching it all like she was behind the glass at an aquarium. The lights were colder than she expected. A stage manager named Terry came over with a mic pack. He was soft-spoken and didn't make much eye contact. We'll get you set up. Show starts in 7, he mumbled, clipping the mic to the back of her blazer. Just a heads up. The second segment's where Dale gets a little more candid. Monica raised an eyebrow. Candid? Terry's mouth twitched, maybe almost a smirk. You'll see. Dale walked out a few minutes later to warm up the in-studio audience. About 40 people sat fanned out across 3 rows, mostly white, a few black folks, and a couple who looked like they'd come straight from the Whole Foods next door. Dale did his usual pre-show dance, a joke here, a hand wave there. His voice carried like he knew it didn't need to be smart, just loud. When Monica stepped onto the stage for the live taping, the audience clapped. Some were just being polite, a few were genuinely excited, and one woman in the front row mouthed, "Thank you," as Monica walked past. The chairs were set close. Dale leaned into his like he was getting ready to gossip. Monica sat up straight, ankles crossed, hands on her lap. Everything about her posture said, "I'm not here for games." The theme graphic flashed behind them. Black business excellence, the stories you don't hear. Monica smiled inside. Oh, the irony. Dale opened soft. So, Monica, can I call you Monica? She nodded. You've been called one of the most influential black entrepreneurs under 40. You've turned kitchen experiments into a brand now found in major retailers. First of all, wow. Thank you, Monica said. And you did this without a trust fund, without a big-name investor. What I want to know is, how? What's the secret sauce here? I mean, a lot of people try and fail. Monica looked directly at him. The secret sauce was consistency, research, and listening to my customers, and not quitting when it got ugly. Ugly? Dale leaned in. What do you mean by ugly? Monica didn't blink. I mean being told by store managers your packaging looks too ethnic, or being asked by lenders if my husband co-signed, even though I'm single, or hearing folks say, black women don't spend money on skincare. That kind of ugly. Dale chuckled, lightly, awkwardly. That's wild, really? He turned to the audience like they'd all share the disbelief. Don't you think that sometimes people just exaggerate these things? I mean, isn't it possible people just didn't like the pitch? The temperature in the room shifted. Monica smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Well, when 6 people in a row tell you you're too urban for Whole Foods, and then you find out the product they picked instead was basically yours with a white woman on the label, it's not a pitch problem. Laughter from a few corners of the audience. Quick, uncomfortable. Dale nodded slowly. Okay, I hear you. But let's be real. Some would say that success like yours is rare because, well, not everyone puts in the work like you did. Wouldn't you say it's also about personal responsibility? The smile dropped. It always is, she said flatly. But the audience could feel it now. The questions weren't questions. They were traps. For a second, you could hear someone shift in their seat. The air had weight now. Monica glanced toward the camera lights, then back at Dale. He was still smiling, that same practiced smirk he wore when he thought he had someone boxed in. She leaned forward just slightly, calm, focused. "Let me ask you something, Dale," she said. His eyebrows twitched. "You said people like me don't always put in the work. Do you mean entrepreneurs in general, or black entrepreneurs?" He laughed, but it cracked at the edges. No. I mean people in general. Don't twist my words." "I'm not twisting," she said. "I'm asking, because you keep using words like rare and responsibility, but you're not saying what you really mean. So I'm giving you the space to clarify." The audience was still. Dale shifted, cleared his throat. "Okay, well, I just think sometimes there's too much focus on race and not enough on grit. Hard work is universal. You'd agree with that, right?" "Absolutely," Monica replied. "But what's not universal is how that hard work gets judged. When I walk into a pitch room, I'm not just selling a product. I'm selling the idea that a woman who looks like me belongs in that room in the first place. That's not grit. That's strategy. That's survival." Dale sat back, blinking. The audience began to murmur, low but steady. Monica didn't let up. "You invited me here to talk about black business excellence. But excellence isn't just about profit margins. It's about navigating spaces where we're treated like accidents instead of architects." A few people clapped, quiet at first. She went on. "You want to talk about personal responsibility? Let's talk about yours. You have a platform, and every time you bring someone like me on here, you set the tone. You can ask hard questions without making them petty. You can be real without being reckless. But instead, you ask if my success is real, if I got lucky, if I'm the exception." Dale opened his mouth, then closed it. "You don't get to disguise disrespect as curiosity," she finished. The audience erupted, not just polite applause, full-on applause. A few stood up. The camera lights flickered as the techs scrambled to figure out whether to cut to commercial. Monica leaned back in her seat and folded her hands. Dale adjusted his mic. His voice was tighter now. All right, let's bring it down a bit. We're just having a conversation." "No," Monica said calmly. "You were having a performance. I came to have a conversation." That line was the one that would be played over and over again online for days. Someone backstage gave the rap signal. As the credits started to roll, Dale turned toward Monica, half laughing. "You definitely made this a memorable one," he said. "I tend to do that," she replied without looking at him. The floor director stepped in, and the camera faded to black. But what came after the camera's cut, that's when the real show began. The clip was up within an hour. One of the interns, barely out of college, knew what he had just witnessed. He sliced Monica's words clean and quick, no fluff, no edits, and posted it straight to the show's YouTube channel under the title, "Monica Reed Checks Dale Renner on Live TV." He didn't even ask permission. He just knew. By the time Monica was back in her hotel room, the video had already cracked 80,000 views. She hadn't checked her phone until Jerome called. "You saw it?" "I saw it," she said quietly. "Girl, they are cooking Dale in the comments. I mean, he is getting roasted deep-fried on every platform. It's wild." She opened her laptop. Twitter was a firestorm. Hashtags had already taken root. Monica Reed, how Clapback, Queen, we're not the exception. People were quoting her line, "You don't get to disguise disrespect as curiosity." One user wrote, "She said that like she was holding church on a Tuesday." Another, "Monica Reed didn't go viral. She went vitamin C, necessary, powerful, and you felt it immediately." She smiled, just a little. Dale's face was plastered on screenshots with captions like, "When the trap backfires," and "That moment you realize she's not the one." It wasn't just memes, though. Articles were popping up. Serious ones. Think pieces on the way successful black women are often patronized in public spaces. Business blogs quoting Monica's stats on the uphill climb for minority-owned companies. Journalists were tweeting about the moment that flipped the power dynamic on the Real Talk. And in the middle of it all, Monica did what she always did when things got loud. She turned everything off. She powered down the screens, took off her blazer, and sat cross-legged on the carpet, just breathing. An hour later, her publicist called. "Morning shows are asking for you. Good morning, America, CBS." "Mornings, even NPR wants to do a segment." Monica rubbed her forehead. "Not yet," she said. "You sure this is the wave?" "I'm not trying to ride a wave," she said. "I'm trying to shift the tide." The next day, Dale went quiet. No tweets, no rebuttal, no smug follow-up. But an anonymous crew member leaked a clip that hadn't made it to air. Dale pacing backstage before the show, mocking Monica's product line to a producer. "Another miracle lotion. Watch. She'll talk about cocoa butter like it's holy water." That clip hit harder than anything else. Monica didn't even have to respond. The internet did it for her. People who'd never bought a skin product in their life started ordering from her website just out of respect. Her sales spiked. Not because she dragged Dale, but because she didn't. Because she didn't flinch. In Tulsa, a middle school teacher played the interview in class. One of her students, a shy black girl with big dreams and sketchbooks full of business ideas, raised her hand and said, "I didn't know we could talk like that. I didn't know we were allowed." Monica would never hear that story, but it happened. And while Dale's PR team scrambled to reframe the fallout, Monica sent her team a short email with 3 words: "Keep building, forward." But even Monica didn't know how deep this moment would reach. 2 weeks later, the noise had settled into something heavier, not just chatter, reflection. Monica walked into a small community center in San Bernardino to speak with a group of teen girls in a mentorship program. She'd accepted the invite long before the Dale episode aired. Most of them didn't know her from the viral clip. They knew her because their program director had been using her story as a case study long before social media caught up. She sat in a folding chair, not a stage, no lights, no applause, just a circle of worn sneakers and scribbled notebooks. One of the girls, Amira, raised her hand. "Were you scared?" she asked. "On that show, when he tried to make you look dumb?" Monica didn't rush to answer. "Yeah," she said, "not because I thought I couldn't handle it, but because I knew how many people would judge me not just for what I said, but how I said it. We don't always get grace when we stand up for ourselves." Amira looked down at her shoes. Monica leaned forward. "But that doesn't mean you stay silent." Another girl chimed in. "Did he ever apologize?" Monica smiled. "No, but I didn't expect him to. I wasn't speaking for him. I was speaking for me, for us." They sat with that for a second. That's when it clicked. This story, this moment, was never really about Dale, or even about Monica, fully. It was about who gets to feel human on camera, who gets to be the teacher instead of the lesson, who gets to show their brilliance without having to soften it, shrink it, or explain it. Because for too long, power disguised itself as professionalism. Disrespect was labeled just a question. And too often, Black women were told to laugh it off or not take it the wrong way. Monica didn't just challenge that. She exposed it. She didn't need to shout. She didn't need to snap back with heat. She let the truth sit between them like a mirror. Dale couldn't look into it, but millions of others did. And they saw themselves. They saw their mother, their sister, their favorite professor, their boss, their future. The clip may have been 30 seconds, but the message reached further than Dale's entire career. In the weeks that followed, more shows reached out, not just to Monica, but to other entrepreneurs they had overlooked. Brands that never got a seat at the table suddenly found themselves in the room. Whether the motives were sincere or opportunistic didn't matter much. The door had opened. It wasn't Monica's job to explain why it had been closed in the first place. She just kicked it down. One night, Monica finally watched the full episode again. Not for herself, but for the parts she'd missed in the moment. The audience faces, the flicker in Dale's expression, the silent shift when truth hit the floor like a dropped mic. When the credits rolled, she turned off the screen and said nothing. She didn't need to. She'd said enough already, because grace doesn't whisper, it echoes. If this story made you pause, even for a second, ask yourself where else you've seen that same silence, that same smirk, that same script play out. And next time, don't wait for someone like Monica to speak. Make space, ask better questions, listen for the truth, not just the performance. Real change starts when we stop watching and start doing.